Bull's Blood is a fragrance that's crafted for the daring. It's not suited for the timid by any means. Hey, what's going on? Hunter here and welcome back to my channel where I upload weekly fragrance content. So of course you already know the drill. Hit the subscribe button down below if you haven't already. And of course, check me out over on my Instagram page. So today we are reviewing the newest relaunch from Imaginary Authors, which is of course Bull's Blood. And I cannot wait to talk about this one with you guys. Now, if you are not familiar with the house of Imaginary Authors, they are a niche sort of indie house which creates fragrances based on one imaginary note in each one of them. This one, of course, is Bull's Blood, which sounds insane because it is. And shout out to Imaginary Authors for sending this very unique fragrance over for review. Of course, that's not gonna change my view on it or anything like that, but shout out to them. Now let's go over some information. So Bull's Blood was originally launched back in 2012 and then it got discontinued. I'm not sure how long it was in production before it did. Honestly, it probably didn't do so well back then when that's probably why they discontinued it, because like I said, it's a very daring fragrance that's not gonna be for everybody, of course. But it was relaunched in 2023, so I'm not sure if they changed anything with the DNA or anything along those lines, but it is back. And for the retail price, only size this comes in, which is 50 ml like I have in hand, is gonna run you $105, which I think is very reasonably priced. The concentration is an eau de parfum, which means it's right down the middle when it comes to concentration, above an eau de toilette and slightly below an extrait de parfum. And the perfumer, who's also the brand owner, is Josh Myers. So shout out to him for creating such unique, bold fragrances. With all the information out of the way, let's look at the packaging and presentation you get with Bull's Blood now. All right, take a look at the box, which I love the style and presentation that Imaginary Authors does. It's kind of like a book, to be honest. And this is, of course, has Bull's Blood right there. Imaginary Authors' wildly inventive fragrances, which is the truth. On the back, you do have tell a story without saying a word, which is the case with these. You can find them obviously at imaginaryauthors.com. You do have some of your notes listed, and this is a picture of a guy. I'm not sure if it's a real guy, but each fragrance is based on a author, a imaginary author, so he might be fake, I'm not sure. But look at this quote right here. It reads, "A man who has killed is a man who knows passion," which is a very, very dark quote. I'm not sure. I hope they're talking about killing a bull, which we'll go with. And then you open it up like so. Your fragrance is housed with a sample as well, which every box comes with. Now let's look at the bottle now. Okay, looking at this bottle, like I said, it kind of looks like a book. You do have this picture on the front with a rose for heads, which is interesting artwork going on. On the back, you do have your notes as well as Imaginary Authors, and then you have Bull's Blood. So if you have a lot of these, you can actually stack them up like so, like a bookcase, which is awesome. On the top, you have the Imaginary Authors logo. On the bottom, you do have your sticker as well, and you open it up like so. Nothing in the cap, nothing on the atomizer, and it does hold on by friction, but this thing is very tight. For the notes, you have rose, geranium, tobacco, blood, black musk, patchouli, and sandalwood, and this will be classified as a animalic earthy. So let's spray this and test out these atomizers. Decent atomizer. It actually does spray a ton of juice, but it's not necessarily pressurized. So let's go ahead and smell this absolutely bold fragrance right now. If you're not used to like very dark, animalic, earthy fragrances, you're gonna spray this one and you're gonna be like, what the heck is that? What is going on? Why would anybody want to smell like that? Now for me, I actually like animalic, very earthy, dark, mysterious fragrances. And this is without a doubt one of the darkest I've ever smelled. I mean, it's gonna be hard to top this when it comes to like those bold, dark, animalic fragrances, because this is like top tier. So I'm gonna try to break this down as best I can. Now, right in the opening, it is grounded by this very earthy rose and geranium note, but I'm mostly getting the geranium to my nose, which is very similar to rose, but usually has more green nuances than the note of rose itself, and that's definitely being picked up to my nose. But trust me, the rose and geranium is not the only thing in the opening, because you are gonna start to get that imaginary blood note Of course, I do have to tell you guys, it's not real blood in here. It's an imaginary accord that's made to smell like the note of blood, apparently. And they did a fantastic job. You do get this very irony blood that's very dark, very animalic smelling. Now, the way I describe it, if you ever had a nosebleed before and you smell the blood in your nose, it has that very iron-like smell. That's exactly what this smells like. So this is gonna be a fragrance that you're gonna have to be careful wearing around others because it's also very strong and people are gonna look at you very weird. Yeah, just the opening's very red. Of course, the blood, geranium, and rose, very earthy and slightly green. I mean, this is literally something that I picture a vampire wearing. Of course, from smelling like blood, this is right up a vampire's alley. This will be a perfect fragrance for like Halloween or something like that. It's literally a work of art. That's how I kind of look at fragrances, is like works of art rather than just something that you wear to smell good and please other people. At the end of the day, that's exactly what this is. It's just a kind of work of art creation that is gonna smell like something you've never smelled before rather than like just a blue style fresh citrus fragrance. This is something for collectors and somebody that just really has an appreciation for perfumery in general. So when you get your way into the mid, you are going to be basically met with this very rich, earthy, dark tobacco note, or like actually like tobacco leaf. That's what I'm getting, rather than like either a cherry pipe tobacco, just a very earthy tobacco note. So like basically through and through, this fragrance is literally just very earthy, animalic, and dark. Trust me, even in the mid, you're still getting the geranium, you're still getting that blood note mixed in with the tobacco. Those notes haven't really gone anywhere until you really make your way into the deep base of this. When the blood and stuff start to kind of disappear in the base is probably my favorite part, because what you're left with in the base is this very like unmistakably earthy, hippie-like patchouli now. And if you don't know, patchouli is a note that's often associated with hippies because they use it a lot. And patchouli is one of my favorite notes of all time. It's actually my top 3 favorite notes. I love patchouli. I'm a patchouli head, to be honest with you. I love the earthiness. Sometimes it can smell minty. I just love the vibe it gives off in fragrances. And that's obviously why it's my favorite part, is the base, because of that patchouli in here. It's very, very good. But the patchouli isn't necessarily the only thing. You also are gonna get this very animalic, almost furry musk note is what I'm detecting. Classified as black musk, which is obviously the exact opposite of white musk, which just smells like clean and not really like animalic and musky, unlike black musk, which is interesting because black musk wasn't really used back in the day and now it's becoming pretty popular. It's also, I believe in the newest To Me 19 Degree, which is one of my favorite designer releases of 2023. So you are going to get that very dark musky note along with a very, very earthy patchouli. And those 2 notes is what you're going to be left with once obviously the geranium, tobacco, and that bull's blood note disappear. Actually, I take that back because the tobacco is still pretty prominent along with the musk and the patchouli. So those 3 notes is what you're left with once you get past that very weird, mysterious opening. For the best seasons to wear this one, if you so happen to choose to, is going to be the spring, fall, and winter. The spring because of the slight floral notes in here with the geranium and rose, and of course the fall and winter because of how dark and earthy this fragrance is. For me, primarily, I'll probably only pull this one out like during October when, you know, Halloween's going on, etc. will be probably the only time I wear this one, unless I only wear it at home. I'm not gonna wear this around other people at all. And that leads us into the best occasion. Let's just say no occasion, to be honest, because you're not really gonna wanna wear this out. But if I had to choose, of course, very casual at home or on a specific maybe Halloween party or something along those lines is gonna be the best time to wear it. So for gender, this is without a doubt a ultra masculine leaning fragrance. I know on my Instagram, I said when you apply this one, it's gonna actually boost your testosterone levels. That's how like macho masculine this fragrance comes across. So if that's you, this is gonna be right up your alley. It's not feminine. Even though it does have the rose and geranium, it's not feminine by any means, guys. I cannot ever imagine a woman wearing this one unless she's a vampire. But who knows, there are some freaky women up there that this might be right up their alley. So for age groups, this is without obviously any question a mature based fragrance, like very, very mature. I do not see a younger person or a youthful person wearing this at all, especially not a teenager. So if you're a teenager watching this one, just click off now because this is not gonna be for you, especially if you're going to school or something. I couldn't even imagine that. Just please, if you are watching this one and you are in school, do not buy this one and wear this to school because you're gonna scare some people. Now, finally touching on the performance of Bull's Blood. This stuff performs way more than it should, trust me. Like, this stuff is hard to get off your skin, especially your clothes. If you apply this stuff on your clothes, be ready to wash your clothes at least twice in the washer to get this stuff off. It's way too strong. Me and you, I know we love our strong fragrances, of course, but sometimes, and this one actually proves, too strong can be a bad thing. I mean, this stuff lasted well over 12 hours on skin. And I mean like very strong 12 hours where you can still detect it vividly and still pushing off the skin at the 12-hour mark. And when you're in the shower, you're gonna have to get a loofah or whatever and scrub the crap out of your skin to try to get it off. Even still, it will be able to detect it. That's how beast mode this stuff is. If you do happen to decide to purchase Bull's Blood, I warn you now, because when you apply this one, you're gonna be stuck with it for around like 2 days at least. But that's gonna do it for probably one of the most animalic daring fragrances I have reviewed on the channel, Bull's Blood itself. Let me know down below if you happen to try the original one of this version and your thoughts on it if you did, or if you're thinking about picking this one up. I'm very curious on your thoughts as well. But besides that, leave a like on the video, subscribe below if you haven't already, and of course you already know I'll see all of you back here in my next upload. Take care, everybody.